I realized that I didn't address you the right way. You're a PhD, so I should have said Dr. Gitanjali Bhutani.
I believe technology has these spikes after which you take a step jump. The entire world takes a step jump. 2 years ago, if somebody had told us that you could ask a machine any question in the world and it will have a nearly right answer, we would have laughed at them. I don't really need another dedicated mentor because whenever I have anything to talk about, I go to my manager. And our success metrics are not just that we got interns on board. Our success metrics are how many of them actually converted to SDEs.
What advice would you offer to someone stepping into a leadership role for the first time?
Your organization will always be a reflection of you. If you want your organization to have a certain culture, you have to be it first.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Amazon Unplugged. Our guest today is a remarkable technology leader who's been driving innovation and automation to help improve customer experience. Please welcome Gitanjali Bhutani, our Director of Software Development at Amazon. Gitanjali holds a PhD in self-managing networks from BITS Pilani. She developed intelligent wireless networks using machine learning, and she's a master's in software systems with over 4 years with Alcatel-Lucent. She's delivered impactful tech solutions, and she brings a wealth of experience to our discussion today. Thank you for joining us, Gitanjali.
Thank you for having me on this very exciting podcast you have going, Rajiv.
I realized that I didn't address you the right way. You're a PhD, so I should have said Dr. Gitanjali Bhutani.
Yeah, I don't advertise that for that very reason.
Okay, but nevertheless, you can still use doctor, right?
Yes, I
Good to
can.
know. Thank you. So to kick things off, can you share your journey in science and technology and what sparked this interest in passion in this field?
When I was young, I was like any other youngster. One day I wanted to be a teacher, one day I wanted to be a baker, and so many other things, right? I started getting enthralled by the idea of things being automated, right? But I think all of it started with my passion for robotics. That one day I would want to build a robot that could do everything in the house and my mother wouldn't have to do anything at all. I finally went with the engineering approach and said, okay, I'll build the robot instead. And since then, after that, I worked in a company where we were building embedded systems, right? Wow. So for me, that was the first set of experiences where I figured how challenging technology can be. Like even the smallest of things requires so much thought about how you build it, what the worst case scenario can be, and so on and so forth. And it was just more and more exciting every day. And after that, I moved to Amazon, and it was a whole new world. But it was just that I was enjoying it so much, and work was less work and more about challenging myself every day. Can I do this? Yes. Can I prove to myself one more time that I'm good at this, right? And that's been my journey. And since then, I grew from being a technology leader to technology in business, and it's just so much more technology every day.
And reflecting on your path, and I'm sure you had multiple challenges. Would you like to share one or two challenges that really shaped you and how you dealt with them?
I have learned a lot through all the jobs that I have done. In my first job in the embedded world, I think the first thing that I learned was transient problems are never transient. If a problem happened, it will happen again. Right? It was very standard for us to say that, this happened in our lab once, but it won't happen when a customer tries to place a call, right? Because sometimes we are engineers, we are bored of solving bugs and we don't know where in the whole wide world this one call went wrong. So when you get into these scenarios where you're saying transient, you should at least sit and do the deep dive, right? And that, I think, helped me understand what deep dive is all about, why the 5 whys are necessary, right? That why should you keep asking the why till you get to the root cause.
Right.
That shaped the way I thought about software development and debugging. The second thing, and I don't know if you've heard this version, of the leadership principles, bias for action, right? What does bias for action mean to us?
I mean, it's like you have to make sure that you do it at the right pace, at the right speed, and make sure that it's done with the right level of urgency.
So the two words that come into mind with bias for action is deadline, yesterday, right? But think about it, in the world of tech, how do you enable bias for action? You can keep building all the hacks in the world, but after 6 months, those hacks will come together to prevent you from showing bias for action ever again, right? Because things will start to fall apart. So the big thing that I learned when I came into Amazon is if you have to enable bias for action, you have to build the right large systems that don't require 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks for every feature that has to be plugged in, even if it's a teeny thing, right? And that shaped again how I thought about building software in the first place. One of the biggest things I faced when I became a manager was the first thing we did was this system we had would be normal during normal days, but in Q4 during Diwali or any of that, when traffic hits you hard, it would literally have to, it was literally like we were holding it together and it would fall apart anytime, right? And that challenge was eye-opening, where I had to think about sitting through 3 months with my engineers just sitting up all night waiting for the system to break so they could patch it up. And that's where I learned that building for scale is important. Building for scale is the first thing that you should get your engineers to do if you want to innovate big in places like Amazon. So
I think one thing that we should start looking at from a time perspective is to say, don't look at it from number of days or weeks. Look at it in terms of, hey, months or quarters, and that's when you get the perspective that, we may have had 1 or 2 bad days, but we've had a good month in terms of learning. And I think as you expand that time horizon, you realize that a lot of those setbacks, which looks like the world is ending, is not that bad.
And nothing in the larger scheme of things.
Yes.
I'm still sitting here. I had that life-shattering moment, but I'm still sitting here.
Yes. So you've progressed through various roles in the last 8 years at Amazon. What's been the most rewarding part in your journey? And I also want to ask, if there is a standout challenge that, shaped you or your leadership skills?
So my most rewarding part in one word is people. To elaborate more, I think as a leader, just the impact on the people of my team, right? I am a big fan of growing people. I believe we're here to enable people to meet their aspirations. And the fact that I've been able to do it, the fact that I have people who joined our team as interns and today are senior managers, and I feel incredibly proud that I could be a part of a teeny tiny part of their journey and enable them in that way. And the third is the topic that I'm very passionate about is women in tech, ensuring that women have careers and women are independent. And I feel that over the last few years as I've grown, I've also had this opportunity to be able to influence some of the women who may not directly be reporting into me, but just by nature of giving women something, talking to women, right? In some of these forums, in conferences and so on and so forth, being able to talk to them, being able to understand their challenges and give them teeny tiny bits of advice or just sharing my experience with them. And you asked about a challenge. I think one of my biggest leadership challenges, honestly, came 2 years ago when I moved from being just a core tech leader to tech and business, right? I took on an organization, a large organization, which was tech and business. I had to earn the trust of this really large org, some very, very senior people, right? But at the same time, I had to challenge them to much bigger goals and much bigger things to be done, right? So that I thought was a huge challenge as a leader. On the one hand, I've come in January and I'm trying to earn their trust because I truly believe as a leader, if you cannot earn the trust of your team, you can't get them to do. So I had to earn their trust, but at the same time, I had to find a way to challenge them and tell them that look to now we have to aim big, right? There's no easy way of doing that. The second was stakeholders. All the stakeholders wanted more because the business was changing and we cannot stop. And they were always like, why can't you do this more? Why can't you do that more? And I would think, I don't know, I think what you're talking about, because I'm just here, like I'm 20 days old in the system, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll get back, right? So it was a huge shift and a long journey, but right now it's very, I mean, thinking back of the last 2 years, I'm full of contentment, and I feel like I managed it and I survived it. And we met some of those goals. So I have a happy team, happy stakeholders. There are always going to be challenges, but if 10 years down the line I'm doing something else, I'm still going to remember this as the time that completely changed my leadership.
Given Amazon's commitment to customer-centric approach, how do you ensure that your software development journey is really aligned with the philosophy of working back from the customer?
So as far as customer backwards is concerned, I think Amazon has this brilliant mechanism called PRFAQ, right, which makes us first think about what does the customer really want and how will a customer react to any such thing, right? So my product managers are really focused on ensuring we're doing the right thing for the customers. And once the PRFAQ is in place, then I think everything else is about culture building, right? Actually, in general, it's always about culture building, but once you have a clear PRFAQ, you know what the customer, what is the customer response you're looking for. After that, it is about ensuring that everybody understands that everything apart, customer is the center of our world, right? And that culture we foster through several, from the smallest to the biggest. We send out a whole bunch of launch announcements, right? They are big yay moments for us. We ensure, and I personally ensure, that I'm topping up each of them with the customer impact that it's causing, right? Customer has become the vocabulary of the team, which tells me that yes, we've done well in fostering that culture, and this is not just me, it's all the leaders on my team. And once you do that, I think everybody starts thinking that way. From the youngest of the engineers, they're thinking, okay, yeah, if I go with this solution, she's definitely going to say that the customer will be impacted for this 2 minutes in the middle, so it's not good. So we'll have to think of something else, right? So it's just part of the vocabulary now.
Okay, we'll move to the fun segment now, and it's a quick fire round, lighten the mood. We'll ask you about few tech items and trends, and you'd have to decide if you'd recommend an upgrade or let them fade away. So, okay, let's start with digital currencies.
Upgrade.
Upgrade?
You know, my daughter, she's school going, so every day there's something new. There's a book fair. There is a book to be bought. There is some costume and so on and so forth. So, you know, she has to take money for that. Do you know how much money she has to take? 30 rupees, 20 rupees. Imagine thinking of finding 30 rupees in your house in today's day and age, right? So we go through this madness all morning looking for where can we find a 10 or where can we find 20. So I think digital is a blessing.
Facial recognition software.
Fade away.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine entering a mall and they say, oh, you are Gitanjali, this is your face. I don't want to be known.
It's a little creepy, right? Legacy systems?
I'll give you the unpopular answer here. You should absolutely upgrade them, right? Because I think we use the term legacy systems for everything that my predecessor built that I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Or I just feel like building this thing with a new cool technology that I've just learned. So let me just let that one fade away and build my own. But I think if we've built systems with the right long-term perspective, then these are not legacy systems. They just need to keep getting updated with different things every few years. So upgrade.
Okay. Voice assistants like Alexa?
Oh, absolutely upgrade. Yeah. I think Alexa has been such a boon. I still, I was a beta customer, so I still have that beta device.
Okay.
And We do all sorts of things with it. I have conversations with it when I'm standing in the kitchen, and she'll tell me that I don't understand what you're saying sometimes, but sometimes I'll tell her, Alexa, I want to hear a story. And
in fact, we just gave an upgrade to Alexa with interview ready. I don't know if you've heard. So we built a very cool feature, which is when you say, hey Alexa, make me interview ready, it basically takes you to ask questions about, what's the Amazon interview process, how can I learn about the culture, the leadership. It actually tells you a lot more.
Oh, amazing. Because being in Amazon, a lot of people come to you and ask you, what should I do?
Yes.
As in, how do I prepare for the interview? And I'm always telling them, go to Google, look at the Amazon interview, you'll find leadership principles.
Yes.
But it seems like now Alexa will do all of it.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll switch to leadership segment, and we want to dive into your leadership style and know how do you foster an environment of innovation and collaboration within your team?
So, innovation, right? What stops innovation? Why all of us love to build new things. So why wouldn't we innovate? The topmost thing is the fear of failure. What happens if I fail? Because I'm not so sure at this point that I know how to do it, right? So that's the one thing that I've learned in my leadership journey, that everybody needs a safety net. Everybody needs to be told, it's okay if you fail, I have your back. So you have to continuously keep reinforcing to people and making them understand that failure is okay, it's part of the journey. And the minute you provide that safety net to people, it's just, you can just see that they'll do anything. They'll take risks. They'll do any of that, right? And the second is to really show yourself, to actually give them something to emulate, right? For innovating, you need people to be able to take risks, right? And if you are averse to taking risks yourself, you want that airtight plan before you decide to invest, then they're going to be that way as well. So you have to show them that we'll take this risk. What's the worst that can happen? Always get them to think through that question. And I think collaboration is all about getting people to the table, right? And making them feel like there is nothing to be worried about, and we're only going to be able to achieve this together. So making everybody feel like this is a joint thing we're doing, rather than, one person or one STL only, and they are the only people who get caught for the goal, as opposed to, yes, this is our team thing, we fail together, we succeed together.
What do you think makes working in the field of tech exciting? I know a little bit of that, but I want to learn a little more. And how do you envision the future of this field?
I believe technology has these spikes after which you take a step jump. The entire world takes a step jump, right? The cloud happened, and where we are today in terms of scaling, I don't think even AWS thought of this immense scale when they started off, right? Now the newest thing is Gen AI, right? 2 years ago, if somebody had told us that you could ask a machine any question in the world and it will have a nearly right answer, we would have laughed at them. But now we have this entire Gen AI thing, and it's changing how we do everything else, right? And this is the part where we're taking another step jump. So I feel extremely happy that I've been, at least in the last 10 years, been part of these two big step jumps that technology has taken. And after this, we'll change the face of a lot of things. So to me, that's why you have to keep learning in technology. You can be 60 years old, 70 years old. If you're in the field of technology, you will keep learning. You can never complain that you're stagnating.
So mentorship is important in every aspect, and more so in tech. How do you approach mentoring the next generation that's coming up, and what specific initiatives are you involved with?
Contrary to what people think about mentoring, that you go with a problem, they'll tell you a solution, or they'll tell you how to navigate things. I think mentoring is a lot more. Mentoring is about being a buddy to them. It's about just being a sounding board sometimes. Sometimes it is about giving guidance on this is how I would approach it, right? For the future generation, especially as we take on new interns and the SDs fresh out of college, the part that we try to ensure is that they always have somebody who they can talk to, right? Not just the technical stuff, but just how to navigate all of the soft skills and all of that makes you a holistic engineer. And I think we make managers very, very aware. I don't really need another dedicated mentor because whenever I have anything to talk about, I go to my manager and they're able to guide me just the way I'd like it, right? So managers are made very, very aware that, you know, this, how should we approach our job? Our job is much more than just getting people to deliver results. It's also about being mentors for the younger generation as such. And I think one of the other effective ways for us to mentor this new generation as such is always to give them challenges, right? How will they learn how to navigate anything if you don't let them do it? All our internship programs, we focus so heavily on how do we make interns successful. Our success metrics are not just that we got interns on board. Our success metrics are how many of them actually converted to SDEs. And we do a detailed retrospective of if we had a lesser conversion, why did that happen, right? And that ensures you're always thinking about how to guide them in the right direction, which automatically makes mentoring successful. And I think the other one that we've recently started to have a lot of success with is Amazon Future Engineer, where we get even younger engineers, right? So it's earlier we used to get final year students, now we get them in the third year or the second year, and it's so much nicer to get that enthusiastic engineers who just want to, who are just fearless, right? If there was, I think there's no limit to their level of fearlessness. They'll write anything, they will just write any kind of code and so on and so forth. So that's been another huge success for us. It's amazing to be around these younger engineers. If you're feeling tired any day, Friday evening, you're feeling really tired and you're like, I can't do this anymore, you should just sit down with an AFE engineer and they're all charged up. I'm going to get this done tonight and I'm going to tell my manager that I did it. And you'll forget that Friday movie night.
It's great you mentioned about this program, you know, the Amazon Future Engineers. I think a lot of work that AFE is doing specifically for, you know, the underrepresented communities and you know, families who are coming from low income sometimes, the work that AFE is doing to really help them both financially as well as, you know, through mentoring and providing all the resources, that's going to go a long way in making sure that they also get included in, you know, in their journey in tech. So really appreciate what you shared. Thank you so much. For everyone who's not aware about the Amazon Future Engineers program, Amazon's signature computer science education program is designed to offer all young people the chance to build the best future. This program propels more women in tech by providing 500 students, especially those from underrepresented communities, with financial aid of over 200,000 INR, and also provide technical trainings, paid internships and mentorship. Today we have one such scholar with us who has benefited from this program. Please welcome Vaishnavi Deokar. Welcome, Vaishnavi.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how did you come to know about AFE and your journey with Amazon Future Engineer program?
Currently, I am pursuing my BTech from Cummins College of Engineering, Pune. And during my BTech program, I got one mail about the Amazon Future Engineering Scholarship Program. And then I applied for that program and I got that. Then they provide us SD bootcamp. In that, they was preparing us for the technical skills which is needed to crack any internship or any placement opportunity. And I'm able to crack the Amazon internship. I got offered for the 6 months internship based on my performance. And now I'm here for my final year degree to complete this internship.
That is wonderful. So Gitanjali, from your perspective, you know, programs like these, initiatives like AFE, how do they help bridge the gap for aspiring female tech leaders?
So Rajiv, in DEI, E stands for equity. I think AFE is the biggest step towards that, right? We give women, young women, aspiring leaders, the platform to get access to the same opportunities that everybody else has. So it enables equity gives them access to all the resources that Vaishnavi spoke about, the training and so on, so the financials that they otherwise may not have had access to. Right? And the second thing is, I truly believe if you give women a mission and give them that target, then come rain, come sunshine, they will chase it down, right? So we're giving these young women leaders a mission, and from Amazon, for us, it brings brilliant diversity to the table.
Thank you so much. It is so inspiring, when you look at young talent who have a lot of knowledge and they would really want to come and, do their best, and all they need is a little help. And sometimes programs like these can just go such a long way in enabling them to be a better leader, a better person, and to also make sure that they have opportunities. And I think they give back to the community by being those mentors themselves. And I think that this is such an inspiring, initiative. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. They're super energetic when they come on, right? They're more energetic than everybody else.
Wonderful. Vaishnavi, what are your career ambitions and what advice would you offer to young girls, people who are wanting to also work in different companies like Amazon, and anyone who has aspirations with coming into engineering? What do you have to, give to them as an advice?
My career aspiration is to, initially I want to be a successful engineer to deliver innovative and creative results for the society. And along with that, I also wanted to become a successful businesswoman in the future, and to help needy students in terms of in terms of financial, whatever I can do for them. Currently, I can help them in the educational support. And my one advice to the young girl is to please become the independent, because independence is very important. We don't know whatever situations we have to face in the future. So for that, we don't rely on anybody. And to face that situation, we first need to be an independent.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. It's inspiring how programs like AFE can bring such tangible impact to future of India. So we're nearing the end, and let's fire it up with a rapid fire. I'm going to ask you some quick questions and you need to give the first response. Yeah?
Okay.
If you weren't in tech, what alternate career path would you choose?
I really have three. I'd love to be a baker, right? Also a doctor, also a lawyer. So they really need to be 72 hours in a day.
But you are a doctor now.
Yeah, the one that can actually treat patients.
All right. How do you personally maintain a healthy work-life balance?
By cordoning off days, times of the day in which I know I'm just doing something else other than work. And by prioritizing, acknowledging that there will be days in which I won't do anything other than work, but there will also be days when I will just do life and no work. So prioritizing and then not feeling guilty about it.
What's your go-to strategy to disconnect from work?
Mindless binge watching, just brainless stuff.
What advice would you offer to someone stepping into a leadership role for the first time?
Your organization will always be a reflection of you. So if you want your organization to have a certain culture, you have to be it first.
What book or show are you currently enjoying?
I'm watching a show called The Good Wife. It has, I think, 7 seasons or something like that.
Wow.
And it's a complete, not a fully crime series, but it's about this woman lawyer and how she's full of everything that a heroine protagonist has, right? So.
Okay. And finally, what's the best piece of advice you've received in your career?
Oh, the best piece of advice I've received is invest in your people, right? If you want to be a leader, invest in your people.
Thank you, Gitanjali, for all the insights. And we have a small gift from an Amazon Karigar seller. Let me move this a bit. Oh.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in. I had a fantastic time chatting with Gitanjali about how we can uplift more women in technology through mentorship. Let us know what you think about in the comments, and stay tuned for more inspiring sessions with Amazon Unplugged.